Joining me on the podcast this week are Gina McKee and Harmony Rose-Bremner, two of the 5-woman ensemble of the adaptation of Annie Ernaux's The Years, which is transferred from the Almeida to the Harold Pinter Theatre. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, I know this is going to be a hard one, but if you had to sum up what The Years is in a short sentence, how would you describe it? Harmony, do you want to go first?
I feel like I would try and do a short sentence and then it would become a really long and rambling sentence. But I guess it's like telling the story of one woman's life from the 1940s until like the early 2000s. And it's telling it against the backdrop of lots of historical events, but also very personal things that are happening in her own life that kind of end up relating to the female experience. And see, look, it's a long rambling sentence already.
That's pretty good, I think.
I think that was good.
Did you know the novel, Gina, before you came to it?
I didn't. I saw Rupert Gould talking about what was coming up at the Almeida, and he mentioned The Years and Annie Ernaux, and so I thought, gosh, that sounds interesting. Started to do a bit of research. Then I read The Years. Then I realised I needed to read many more of her books, and kind of wished I'd done it that way around, some of her earlier work and then culminating in The Years. And I thought, gosh, this would be amazing. Then I did a little bit of research on Alina Arbot, who's the creator, the director of The Years, and I figured this would be a really brilliant thing to be a part of, and so said, do you think they may think about giving me an opportunity? So that's how I came to it. And just to add what you were saying, I think that the adaptation of The Years, the novel, into the play has been especially amazing. Everybody said to Alina, you can't do that. It's like one of those impossible situations. But she's somehow taken the dexterity of Annie Ernaux's form in terms of her hybrid of writing, bringing together sociology, political comment, memoir, diary, all of these elements, and she's created this hybrid, this language of her own, this form of her own. And I think in some way Alina's done that in the theatrical form. So she's given us this extremely dexterous form, theatrical grammar, in order to tell this story. So it's one woman, but 5 women portraying that character. And as Arnaud writes in the collective we, somehow that translates to us being the collective we.
Yes, and there's a lovely summation at the end of talking about it being in a continuous present as well, that it's all told in the present tense, isn't it? Which gives it a real sort of urgency. The two of you star alongside Romola Gallery, Anjali Mahindra and Deborah Findlay, and I should probably explain to the listeners that each of you sort of plays the woman, Annie Ernaux, probably at some stage of her life, but you also all play her at all stages of her life, don't you? Is that right?
Yeah, the play follows a chronological order in terms of, beginning in the 1940s with Annie 1.
That's me.
That's Harmony.
That's Harmony. And then Anjali, and then we see Romola and myself, and then Deborah. And so we see this collective experience, because every time somebody is portraying Annie, it does impound, it does affect us. But we also support that Annie by playing the other characters in her life at that time.
Yeah.
So we get a chance to be all sorts of people.
You get to be sons and lovers and, friends, don't you? And sort of dodgy uncles and things
exactly,
like that. Yes.
And like we're all, when whoever is playing the Annie is like taking the stage, the rest of us sort of get to observe and commentate on her life from our own perspective. So like the way that you would look at your life as a young person thinking about the future of your life is going to be very different to like the 5th Annie looking back at the 3rd Annie playing, with a sort of more knowing perspective or something like that. It feels very like generation linking in a way.
It's still quite unusual to see an all-female ensemble in a female-led production, doesn't it? Is that different to stuff you've experienced before, both of you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't been like working for that long, but I think I'm only...
You need to explain, Harmony's a fairly recent graduate, and she's an amazing addition.
Oh, stop it!
No,
Stop
I'm going to sing it loud. Anyway, sorry, but...
No. Well, it's just been, I've not been out in the industry that long, so it feels like a real privilege to have come across this job and to be working amongst all of these incredible, like, amazing women who have so much experience. And it's weird in a way because it's kind of like the play in a sense of like the first Annie is there like looking at all these other versions of herself who have experienced things that she never has but still can feel like connected to them in some way. But it's amazing.
It's very open about the female experience, isn't it? About female desire, about bad sex or coerced sex in one very unpleasant patch. Did it feel like a different order of experience for you, Gina, to what you've done on stage before? I mean, is it just different in its expression of the female experience?
I haven't worked on a piece like this before. I kind of maybe have had tiny little appetizers, but this is a real feast, a genuine feast, and that is an amazing celebration. It makes me a little bit sad that it's so unique. I would love more, we need more, we should have more. We shouldn't be talking about it because it's a play about the female experience. Yes. We don't do the equivalent if it's a male experience. We're still in that territory, we're still in the margins in that respect, and that bothers me. However, that said, every moment of this job is to be celebrated, and because it's so incredibly creatively nourishing.
Yes.
So, I've kind of had promises of this kind of thing before, but never this real opportunity.
We should probably briefly touch on the abortion scene that happens, that has been widely reported in the news, that people are fainting sometimes or leaving or being very upset by it. How does that work with the sort of rhythm of the performance when it sometimes has to be stopped? And also, I mean, is there a sense that you're really communicating with an audience if it's having that sort of reaction? It's Romola who acts it out, I should say.
But Annie 3, who's currently played by Romola, that's the story, the part of the story that she portrays. It's interesting, Romola wrote about this, and one of the things she said was that in an unexpected way, it unites the audience and us when the show has to stop. Again, that collective we extends to the audience, I think. I think that from what people seem to say when they respond to the play, that there is a sense that it is their story, and it's not a female story, it's the genuine collective we. And I think often the showstops are bizarrely unite us all.
Yes.
It's like a moment of reflection and like I guess acknowledge it. Like people are watching the play and they see it as a play, but when it stops like that, you're kind of taken out of it, and you have to kind of think about how it manifests in the world, I guess. Yeah. And it's such a terrible thing that Romola's Annie has to go through in that moment, but it's not so far away from the way that things could be in the world, and that's years and years ago. And I guess there's something so confronting about that scene because it's in the past, but also it's very real and present.